lovely people, Nina here. So this week I finished a few books and I figured I would go through and review some of them. I've been reading kind of a lot of books because I am behind on my reading goal, and so I've been reading shorter reads just to try to get caught up, and then listening to different audiobooks to get caught up on my reading goal. And so I have a few shorter ones. I have one that I did not finish. I had to DNF it, and I think only one that I didn't like that I finished and I didn't like. All the other ones that I read I did like. So I figured I would go through and talk about a few of those. So to start, one of the first ones that I finished, I'll put it on the screen somewhere next to me, is The Wedding People. And I went into this with high hopes. I listened to the audiobook from the library and borrowed my sister's e-reader to read it because I couldn't find a copy of it anywhere. And so I borrowed a copy of it. And honestly, I'm glad I didn't buy this book. Which after I finished it, I was like, I would have been really sad if I bought this book because I did not like it at all. My review of it was that it felt like a book that was written for a middle-aged wine mom who goes to the book club to complain about their husband. That's literally how I can describe it. I didn't know a lot about the backstory either. I didn't look it up. I just knew people that I know had been reading it and liked it, and then I knew that it was quite popular. It had really good reviews and a lot of people really did like this. I just think it wasn't for me personally. It read like it was forcing itself to kind of be edgy, and I think it might have just been a language issue and a writing choice. Yeah, there were just a few pieces that it didn't overall, it just wasn't for me. It wasn't a 5-star read by any means. And there's a piece in the book too where one of the major plot points in the book is, I don't know if it's a major plot point, but one of the plot points in the book is that the main character is a teacher, and she teaches at college as an adjunct, and she just up and leaves her class, and then is later on her boss calls her and I was like, are you gonna come back? And she's like, maybe, I just need time off. And it just isn't believable, because you're telling me that she wouldn't have gotten fired. Maybe not, but it feels I mean, I don't want to spoil the whole book given the circumstances that start this whole story and the whole thing. She hadn't planned on going back, but also, I don't know, it just felt yeah, the best way I can describe it is a middle-aged wine mom book, and it wasn't for me. But that's okay, because a lot of other people really loved it, and I loved that for them. The next book I read was Fight the Oligarchy by Bernie Sanders. This one I did like, and I thought that this was a great read. Is it a necessary purchase? Probably not. I borrowed this one from my mom. I think if you wanted to check it out from your library, if your library had it, then that would probably be the way to go. But it is very interesting. He talks about what the oligarchy is, and then what we're dealing with currently in America. And then he also talks about the rise of billionaires and basically how they're all evil, and not just he doesn't talk about them just in America though. The part that I found the most interesting, a lot of this information I already knew, but I think it's still good to refresh. but he talks about like other countries and how they're also contributing to this like crisis. America being like kind of a leader in all of it, but then he talks about billionaires in other countries and how they're basically destroying people and destroying the planet and just really awful. But there's also like a vision of like hope and like how we can get through, and he talks about his Fight the Oligarchy tour and how many people like have showed up for it and how many people want change, and that just made me feel like a little bit better because everything right now is kind of sucky and bad, and so feeling that other people, like reading about how other people kind of felt that way and wanted a version of hope, this was a good read for that. One of the other books that I read and I didn't finish, I had this on my August TBR list, and maybe I'll upload that like at the same time that I upload this one. We'll see, I'll upload them back to back. I had this on my August TBR list because I like Ashley Poston's writing. She has quite a few different books. The ones that I've read of hers all have some type of magical element in them. And it makes it kind of like fun. This one specifically revolves around a magical garden and a boy or man who's stuck in this said magical garden, and this door keeps appearing and she has to try to figure out why. And also this also deals with grief again, and this isn't really a spoiler, it's kind of a spoiler, but you find out about it right away. The loss of her friend. It's within like the first 2 chapters. And so it's also kind of deals with grief. Mainly, I guess, would be the main point, but then it also has the magical element of the garden and time travel, and it's just, with this one, it was the writing. The writing for me fell flat, and I was like, I cannot get through this. There's a scene, a line, I put it in my review, but the main character said something like, you don't know you need a sour lemonade until you have a sour lemonade. And I was like, what does that even mean? What are we talking about here? And there was pieces of the plot line too that felt really similar to her other books that I was like, I can't go through this. I cannot finish it. I think I got like 28% of the way through. The writing enough was stopping me, and then I was like, I can keep trying. And I don't know if it's just like the romance genre that is falling flat, or if it's just weak writing. I don't know, but I couldn't get through this. And I tried, and my younger sister read it, and she thought it was cute. She was like, yeah, this is good. It was cute. I didn't like it. It wasn't for me. One of the next ones I read was, well, technically I listened to it, was Galatea, and it's a short story by Madeline Miller, who famously wrote Circe and Song of Achilles, among other stories. But this is her short story, and it follows the Greek mythology of Galatea, who was sculpted by this really like talented marble sculptor, and then it's the story of how Galatea becomes his wife and is expected to just basically fall in line, and how she goes against that. I won't ruin the whole story, but if you have the chance to listen to the short story, I got it from my library. I would really recommend it. It's literally like an hour maybe, if that. It's very short, but but it's very good, and Madeline Miller's writing is just so well done and so just enjoyable. It's, again, Greek mythology always seems to be very heartbreakingly sad, so this is a sad read, but it's really well done and really well written. One of the last ones that I listened to more recently was Margaret Atwood's Dearly. Margaret Atwood is the author of Handmaid's Tale. I feel like it's probably her most famous work. And she has a new book of poetry, or newish. I want to say it came out this year maybe. Book of poetry. Again, I got this from my library, so I don't have it physical copy with me. But I'll put it on the screen. And this book is a book of poetry that just kind of follows like everyday life and observations, and she has a way of looking at the world of like what's gonna happen when she's 86, 87, and she's like, what is going to be left for my grandkids and my kids, and how, like, basically how we're treating the world and how can it get better, is one of the main messages, and it made me like feel really sad. The poetry book itself is very beautiful, and I was like, do I need to buy a physical copy of this so I can go back and read it? I might, but I really liked it, and I would say it was easily a 5-star read. I love poetry, and her writing was just really like beautiful and honest, and so yeah, that was one of the last ones I read. Again, I had a few shorter reads just because I'm trying to get caught up on my reading goal, and they were really good. The shorter reads that I had were some of my favorite, and yeah, that is all for this week's video. I have a few books that I liked, a few that I didn't like. Yeah, I'm currently reading Hope by Jane Goodall, and I'm really liking that so far. It's also making me feel very sad, but I do really like it so far. And yeah, that is all for this week's video. Let me know in the comments down below what you are reading. If you liked any of these books that I talked about, if you read any of them, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. And yeah, that is all for this week's video. I will see you next week with a brand new video. As always, free Palestine. Bye!